Why I started prepping and how it's changed my life. Let's discuss. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another coffee rant with Dano and Frank, the Patriot Bald Eagle. If you have to pause on this video to get your coffee or whatever beverage you deem necessary, go ahead and do that now, as this will be a lengthy discussion. Tonight, guys, I'm going to explain why I became a prepper and how it has changed my life. How it has changed my life. So, as we all know, 2020 was a rough year. 2020. Now, let me say at first here, okay? Let me say at first, I have kind of been stocking. I've always been one to buy up deals and buy up sales as I see them of things that me and Jess use. We've been doing this for years, long before I considered myself I never even called it prepping. I never did. Maybe I was in the dark with it all, but I never really called it that. I called it smart buying. It was like we knew right away that prices were going to start hiking up. We seen empty shelves all over the place. Every time things were coming back in, things were going up at a higher price. And here we are years later, and it still seems to be doing the same thing, unfortunately. But I knew right away that we were going to have to start being more prepared. You know, if ever there was an event that came up in the future that was, I don't want to say worse than 2020 was, but the possibility of something else happening, I wasn't going to wait around. I knew in my head, I was like, I need to make sure that no matter what happens, that we have 3 months, at least 3 months worth of supplies stocked up. And I know a lot of you that I've told, you know, it's good to have a month's worth of supplies, month's worth of food. Well, I've always looked even beyond that. I don't talk about it much on the channel here, but I've always looked beyond that initial month, a few months to get by. While still adding other things into our supply pantry and stuff as we go along. Always have been cautious, not cautious, but I've always been one to add to like our emergency preps, as a lot of our viewers call them, our emergency stockpile, things that we would need in case there was ever another lockdown or something like that. I always had it stuck in my head that I didn't want to be put in a bad position. Now, we never were. Throughout the whole 2020 and everything. You know, I always made sure that we had everything we needed and, you know, everything moving forward. I knew that whatever was going to happen, we were going to be a few months ahead prepared. And all I remember is hearing the nightmare stories from my friends and family and people that couldn't get out to get anything, that were too afraid to get out and get anything. And I was actually, you know, trying to help a lot of my friends and family wherever they needed it. Now, this was something that, again, after a few months into 2020, when everything started kind of hitting the fan, I knew that I was going to have to do something. I knew that I needed to get this information out here to everyone. And that is where the whole thought process had started, that whatever I did on this YouTube channel, I wanted to make sure that I was helping people. Originally, I was helping people through entertainment. I was doing different short videos of guitar, taking requests, trying to cheer people up, right? People would request different music and stuff like that, and I would pick one of those songs and I would just start playing them, put it online so that hopefully people would be happy. I was doing a lot of that through friends and family, through things like Facebook and stuff like that. It wasn't until a little later that I started putting it out on YouTube. Now, a year later, you know, as we're still in issues, right? Still major issues going into 2021 was when we saw the huge, and I mean huge, price increases on pretty much all food. We were seeing prices nearly double from what they were back in 2020, and we were seeing empty shelves everywhere. And into a few months of 2021, I decided to start documenting the history as we went along here of what's going on, and hopefully some people would get some useful information out of it, or it be able to help, you know, as to where, you know, what we are seeing or what we are not seeing. Maybe it would help some people out there. And a lot of you took took hold of that, and we've been doing it ever since. You guys out here have taught me and Jess a lot of stuff, a lot of things on how to prepare for the future, how to make sure that we are a sustainable future for at least a few months ahead of time. Now, we may be a little, we start rationing things. If things really start falling apart, a lot of the things that we have, we can really ration if we have to. Right, we can. When I say 3 months, I mean 3 months comfortably, breakfast or lunch and dinner, at least 2 meals a day, 2 good meals a day. But if we had to ration, if it got that bad, I would say we could probably stretch it out 6 months, maybe even more. I mean, I know it sounds crazy. This is how I think. I know some people think I'm probably crazy, but that's just how I am. And I also wanted to show something that will help you preserve food that is very expensive, and I would like to thank Castle Circle, one of our longtime viewers, who just sent us this food saver. Just sent us a food saver. Now, I have used these before, and usually, I have friends and family that have them, and we've used theirs, but we've never actually had our own, and I am very excited. He even sent us some different vacuum seal bags here that we're going to use, and, for a lot of our different frozen items, we have always, packed them as good as we can in like gallon freezer bags and stuff like that. That is how I've always done like fruits and vegetables. And those are good for like a couple months. But after that, you better start rotating them or they're going to get like frostbite and stuff like that, or freezer burn or whatever you call it. But, thank you, Castle Circle, for that. Me and Jessica are really looking forward to using this and being able to think differently as we buy products, because as beef and meat and chicken and all these other prices start to go up, it really is. It's something that you can preserve your food for quite a long time, and we are very excited to start using that on a regular basis. And I may do a video here and there, showing how to use this thing. It's there might be a little tricky at first. I've never used one that looked like this. I've used the handheld ones and stuff like that, so very interested to try that again. Castle Circle, thank you very much for that. We do appreciate it. Jessica's real excited to use it too. So I started doing things differently. Okay, as you get older, you learn things, and one thing that you have to learn is you have to learn how to spend your money. You have to learn how to spend your money wisely and not silly. Right? Like silly spending. And of course, we got to have silly spending on things for entertainment. But ways that we save in the future are things for food and stuff like that, because that is how we're able to have entertaining things in life. But I got to tell you guys, it's been a life change. It really has. Everything that we've done with you guys and by ourselves and things, just always finding ways to make sure that we are staying ahead of the game. There's been a lot of events that have happened over the last few months, a lot of world events that they get you thinking. They get you thinking, from everything with the avian flu, with the chicken, and the different things going on with that, and events around the world, the different conflicts around the world right now. It's like, if ever it gets worse, I don't want to go into deep of what if or if it could, because it definitely could. We want to make sure that we have a little bit of a stockpile of things to make sure we're not left in the dust when it all decides to hit the fan. And can things get worse? Absolutely. Absolutely. And we need to make sure that we are planning for the future as these things continue to come. I was reading something the other day. I don't know too much about it, but they were talking about this guy who had gotten the bird flu, and it was just one person. And then somebody had sent me an email on an article where 70 people in Colorado had contracted the bird flu. Look it up online. I don't know too much about it. There's a couple articles on it. There was a little news reel on it. So it's just kind of reminded me of what happened over the last few years. And it's like, if something ever comes down with that, we don't really know. We don't really know. I don't know much about it. But at the same time, we need to make sure that we are thinking of these kind of things, because whenever the WHO or any of these groups start talking about these things, it seems like bad things happen. So, as to where take it for what you will. I know a lot of people don't like the WHO or the, um, different groups that, our tax dollars pay to keep us safe, like the FDA and the CDC and all these. I don't know. I don't know. But the not knowing is the knowing that I need to make sure that I'm prepared for myself, my family, my friends, you guys, and we will continue to put information out here as we go along to make sure that everyone is in the know of everything going on. Now, pretty excited about the food saver thing. We're going to be getting some things as we go along. We're going to be testing this bad boy out, start making sure that we're vacuum sealing all of our different food and stuff from now on. It'll definitely help preserve it for a long time. But at the same time, we're not going to waste it. We're not going to waste it. Anything that we're going to freeze for the future that is in like a couple weeks, well, then you don't. If you're going to eat it in a couple weeks, then I really wouldn't recommend vacuum sealing it, because really you're wasting the vacuum seal. I feel like this is more for something that you plan on preserving for months. Right? This is stuff that it's like, well, okay, we got some steaks. I know Castle Circle was talking about how they bought like a quarter cow and then, sealed them up and stuff like that. Yeah, if you're going to do something like that, then you definitely want to make sure you're vacuum sealing it so it's airtight, right? But definitely excited for it. So a lot of because like peppers and so, you guys know I like chopping up my peppers and stuff and freezing them, and I freeze bag them and stuff like that. Don't know if I would use something like that. I mean, if I do use this for that, then it would be something where I know, okay, maybe buy some extra, and then the stuff that I'm not going to use for a long time, make sure those are sealed so they're fresh. But really interested in this, but wanted to just kind of go into how this has changed our lives, probably for the better. A scary situation can really make you first of all, you have to look at the immediate changes. What do we do? Okay, we're on lockdown. Boy, thank goodness I bought that extra thing of toilet paper. Thank goodness I have these extra canned goods in case we can't get out. Thank goodness that I have fishing poles. If it got that bad, I could go down to the lake and do some fishing. It's these things. Maybe it's, it's the way my brain works. It's like I always, no matter what, like in chess, I always like being a move ahead. And one thing I learned from a few years ago, that it's very important that you're always a move ahead, because that way you're not going to be left stranded when something does happen. And if nothing ever does, awesome. Then I've got a lot of food that I will be able to save money on for the next few months, right? I mean, that's how I look at it. Like, it's still going to get eaten at some point. And I got deals on everything I bought, saving thousands of dollars in the process. I look at everything like dollar signs, no difference in food. And when I go to the grocery store and I see something that we eat on an everyday basis that's half off, you better believe it. And it's the thing, like, I know everybody always talks about digital coupons, and yes, they're fine and dandy and all that stuff, but digital coupons, well, at least at Kroger, you can only get 5 of them. Some of them at Meijer, you can only get 1. So you're limited on what you can get. I'll still get them. I'll get all 5. And usually with digital coupons, you save even more money, so it's even more worth it. But with these other deals that Kroger does and some of these other stores do across the country, like Publix, they do the buy one, get one free deal all the time. The BOGO deals, right? It's like, if I lived in Florida or where Publix is dominant, then I would be stocking up on those, because those look like they're really the only good deals you can get at Publix. I know there's other deals. They have other sales and stuff like that, but I've walked around Publix, and that seems like really the only way you're going to save the most money is buying up those BOGO deals when you see them. At least, I mean, I've only been to Publix, maybe 10 times in my life, so I don't know. Maybe things have changed. But, as far as like Kroger and their buy 5 or more deals and stuff like that, there's no limit. So I can stock up on a lot of things. And, a lot of people say, well, you stocking up on these things is leaving a lot less for everyone else. That is not true. That is not true, because one, there is a Kroger like every corner around here. And there is, they would not put these items on these kind of lists if they didn't have like trucks of these items sitting on. So I will buy as much as I want. I am that kind of person that I'm not going to take the last couple though. I make sure that I want, because my thoughts are somebody's going to want this and it's going to be gone. They're going to be sad. I'll leave one or two or a couple. Like if there's 10, then I'll take 8. I mean, that's just how I want to make sure that everybody has a chance. Somebody's going to like that same thing that I do. Want to make sure that they're able to get that as well. I've never believed in taking the last of anything. Do I think it's a problem if you do? Absolutely not, because Kroger should be refilling these things. All these stores that are putting these things on no limit orders should be refilling these things right away. Could be part of the problem of what we're seeing at Walmart. Okay. Now I went to Walmart today. That video will be out tomorrow morning. I noticed a lot of low shelves on things, and I start thinking like a lot of these things are items that people are buying on an everyday basis. A lot of people could be loading down on these, and then they're just not getting replaced as fast. If that's the case, then maybe, because we see some stores that put limits on things, and the reason for that is because they want to make sure that people who are constantly coming in are going to be able to get their products. Because if people come in and they're not able to get their favorite products, they may stop shopping there. Even if they stop shopping for a month, that's money that Walmart is losing. And they know this. They know this. These stores are smart. They may not look it. They may act like they're dumb, but they are not dumb. Acting dumb is the art of being very smart, right? I've always said that, because it's like, they know what's going on. They act like they don't know what's going on. And then you see what's going on later, right? Like kind of what I saw today. Saw a lot of big gaping holes in products that Walmart sells for dirt cheap. And that's probably why, because people are buying all these products because a lot of it's become unaffordable in other stores. I look at places like Meijer and even Kroger. If Kroger doesn't have a sale on it, then it's the most expensive anywhere. We always say that. Kroger is the most expensive store to shop at, where you can save the most money. Meaning, if you shop the sales and the coupons and all this stuff, at least here in Cincinnati, you're going to save more than you do at any other store. Any store. Walmart, Aldi, well, I guess it depends on what you're getting. But, with Walmart, it depends on what you're getting too. But again, I'm saying that if you're buying up the sales at Kroger, then you're going to ultimately save, because you're not going to spend $1.59 on a can of Del Monte or a even a dollar can of vegetables. And that is one thing where I think Kroger does fail a little bit, is their canned vegetables are anywhere from 89 cents to 99 cents a can, as to where Walmart's Great Value is 64 cents a can, and Aldi's Happy Harvest is 63 cents a can. And that's all the time, even though they did just go up in price like a couple months ago. They kept it within a penny of each other. But there is this. We have skimflation and shrinkflation going on as well. As most of you guys know on the channel, I always do my little earthquake test on the canned goods. I did not do this on camera today, but I was testing some of the different Walmart canned goods. I picked up some corn. I'm like, wow, that's awful sloshy. That's a lot of water. I did it the other day at Aldi too. Okay, the Happy Harvest, picked up the corn, a lot of water. I did pick up one that was kind of full. You always want to give it a little bit of shake, make sure you're getting the most for your money, right? And I will say, with every now and then I'll pick one up from Kroger, and it'll be a little watery, but it's never as watered down as like Great Value or Happy Harvest. It's usually full, usually completely full. So the 89 cents that you're paying, you're getting more product. You're getting more product. Let's take a pause here. Oh, how you doing, Frank? So it has been quite the journey of learning, being educated in what I've done. I've watched lots of videos on different things, different preppers and stuff like this and what they do. I know, there are some people that take it to the next level. I mean, and I'm not, that's a good thing. I mean, for me, we don't really have the room to have our own supermarket in our backyard. I mean, some of what these guys do, it's amazing. It's amazing what they've done, what they've built over the years. I was even watching this one show where the daughter comes over and she literally like goes shopping through her mom's different like pantry and everything, and it's like a huge shed like full of different groceries and stuff. I mean, it looked really cool. Looked really cool, but yeah, that's a whole different level. And I'm sure she's probably saved $10,000 on food doing what she does. And I think that's awesome. Um Not something that I'm really interested in doing, but at the same time, hey, do what you want. Um but, as far as making sure that we're prepared for a few months in advance, 6 months if we need to ration things out, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I know there's a lot of people on our channel who are well prepared for years, maybe years to come. But at the same time, again, I can't even think about doing that right now because we just don't have the room. But you know what? It's awesome to know, that if anything happens, then we are prepared. We're ready. And I'm not just talking about food. I mean, we've got batteries, we've got light bulbs, we've got uh, tools. I got a pretty big knife collection and some collections of other things that are pretty nice to have as well. And it's been interesting. It's been interesting as we've grown together, as me and Jess have grown to, make sure that we have these things for preparing for the future for whatever is to come. I think it's a good mindset to have. And as I get older, these things become easier. I think when you're young, you don't really think of the future. When you're really young, you don't know what the future is. You're not settled down. You're not. When I was young, well, let's talk about that for a second. When I was young, I was all over the place. I mean, I was playing music in places. I was out with friends all the time. I was on the road all the time. I had no care in the world for even how I was going to get my next meal. I mean, there was really I had no intention of that. And then but growing up, I had that kind of mindset because both of my grandmas were kind of like that. They were always like saving money in different ways, every way they can. I've talked about how me and grandma and even my mom used to cut out coupons when I was a little kid, always saving money on food. And I think it has just been instilled in my brain that you have to say, if you want to do other things in life, Dan, then you have to save on these things. And I've always been like that, and it is what has been able to, do some of the other things that we want to do in life, like traveling and stuff like that. It's good to know that by saving this, because you start doing the math, right? You do the math, and it's like, I look how much I'm saving by buying these things for the future, and it's like, when I get these things, not only do I get them on a great deal, I mean huge savings. I figure what they are now. Like, for instance, remember when Sam's Club had their batteries? They were $19.99 for their Energizer batteries for the 48 counts. I would get those on sale when they were like $13. They're never $13 anymore. So you got to factor in what the price is now. And sometimes they'll go on sale and they'll be like $22.98 or something. Right? Maybe even if they had a sale of $5 off and brought it back down to $19.98, right? But I've already saved that $7 plus that other $5 for the future by me buying up a bunch when they were on that sale. Knowing that I'm going to use them anyway, I don't know. I mean, I know I'm not the only one out there that thinks that way. And I think it's a good way to think because things are constantly going up. Excuse me. And it's not just food. It's not just food. It is everything. We've had a few longtime viewers that have kind of re-mentioned that on the channel here over the last probably week. And yes, it really is. Clothing in other stores. I'd say Walmart's kind of staying the same, but a lot of other things have gone up in price too. Well, even like some of the t-shirts that used to be $5 at Walmart, they're like $10 now. So I guess, yeah, some of this stuff has doubled even at Walmart. But you can always find, some good deals on stuff like that. And other places you can always find some good deals. But, we have to make sure that, we have these things. I sometimes feel like I go to the next extreme. I mean, I have like 2 pair of shoes that I haven't even used. Because I think, well, I got a good deal on them, right? I'm going to use them in the future. And if something ever happens and we can't go to the stores again for some other reason, I have an extra pair of shoes that if I need to book out of here, well, I got some gym shoes. I got some mud shoes, right? I don't know. Got some hiking boots if I need them, which I have old ones and newer ones, just to have. And, some people, I think I've always said this, and I think that when I was getting a lot of preppers on our channel here, okay, the one thing that I noticed was how much preppers got a bad name, okay? I never looked at it like that. No judgment here on this channel at all. And I just didn't understand because it was like because we were all relating. Even though I did not call myself a prepper or anything, I was always relating because it's like, oh yeah, I do the same stuff. I mean, you have different levels, right? You have people that are professionals, right? And you have people like me who are like, well, I buy up sales when I see them and make sure that I'm saving in the future and making sure I have enough to provide for me and Jessica and maybe, a few of our family members if something was to really go down. But as we go along here, as we move along, me and Jessica are constantly looking for some property. So as we go along with these things, this will be something easier where we will be able to have a garden and grow some vegetables and fruits, which, yeah, we're kind of don't have the room really for it. I mean, I know we can grow it inside because we're literally out of room. And even our porch, like, I mean, I could grow tomatoes again, but it's like, oh, it was kind of a headache last year because we had, it was just like, I'm just going to buy my cherry tomatoes, right? I grew a bunch of them last year and they were nice and they were good, but it's just not much yield for what I was doing on the balcony. It was like, I'd go out there, eat a few, and they'd be gone for like another week or two. If I had some property, I'd have bushes and bushes and bushes of them where we're getting hundreds of them, and then it's definitely worth it while you're doing that. But anyway, guys, yeah, it has been quite a journey. Just wanted to talk some about this. There have been people who've been asking, want me to give some answers on some of the things that we've been doing. And, I've kind of just, I don't usually talk too much about, the inside part of mine and Jessica's lives, but wanted to talk a little bit about it today because we get a lot of comments on these things. And, reading that article thing with the whole avian flu kind of took me back to what, the possibility of things or outbreak. Don't know, or I don't know. I don't know. We'll let's see what happens. That has been spreading through cattle. They talked about it in the milk and stuff like that. And now stories of actually humans having it. So we'll have to see. Don't know where the future lies on that. Hopefully the right people are involved that are taking care of it. Hopefully. I could say hopefully till the end of this video. But anyway, it kind of reminded me that, hey, maybe we need to talk about this and make sure that, if you're watching this video right now, again, also, guys, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe down below. Become part of the adventure. Send that like button. Hit that like button because that really does that helps our video spread the message out all around the world. We do appreciate it. Share it. Feel free to share our videos with your social media. And let's get this information out here. Let's get talking about it because we don't want to be, like I said, we don't want to be left behind if everything decides to hit the fan here at some point. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday. Have a great night.